Hello, it's me, Lucy, and I made a silly craft for you today. I call him the Wobbly Gobbler. So it's just a simple little turkey, and that's real easy to put together, and he's kind of fun, and I think kids would like to make him. So that's what we're doing today, and I've been seeing everybody, Kathy and Barbara and Sonia and Roseanne and Rosa, and oh, Jean Chi is there, hey. My brother is here, my brother Ben, Paula, I don't know, Delvine, hey Delvine. Okay, so I just put it into the library. It is design number 201, and there's not a written tutorial yet. I think what I'm going to do is make some more Thanksgiving things next week. Somebody asked for placeholders, for ideas for putting, oh, not placeholders, you know, when you're at the table, the dinner, you know, little name tags at each plate. So Luca's rubbing against the computer. He feels like he has to leave his scent on everything. So if you're wondering about the wiggle, that's Luca. Lukey, come here. Dook, dook. Anyway, he temporarily stopped for a minute. Then he went back to it. I'm trying to hold the computer so it doesn't fall. Sorry about all the distractions. And so I think I'll write a tutorial of some ideas for Thanksgiving crafts. So I'll write it up by tomorrow. Lukey, you got to stop. Stop it. Yeah. So, but it's so easy. And like I said, it was Design Space. It's in my Paper Glitter Glue library, the free library. Ben, can you pet him or do something so he'll quit rubbing against my computer? I had to get my trusty assistant to distract my favorite cat, Luca. Okay, all right, so let me see if anyone's got any questions. Tiffany's in the car. She's on her phone. Good. She's not driving. She's in the car. She's not driving. That's very reassuring. And Nan is here. Hello, Nan and Paula. Yes, some place cards. Some words are escaping me. It really kind of worries me that they're like, shoo. I've always had trouble with words. I think I'm kind of dyslexic. I'm extremely left-handed, and I switch words around and stuff. So I think that's part of my problem in thinking of the names of things. Okay, so like I said, the little turkey is easy, and you know, he's just like the dancing figures we did. I just like it because it's got a little movement. You could put it on a kid's door or something, and he kind of wiggles, and he's just kind of fun. So I'm going to switch cameras. Yeah, if Luca will go away. Okay, let me get to the thing. Switching cameras. Going to rotate. And like I said, one of these days, I will figure out how to do the camera switcher thing. Oops, that's the, so I can, so it's a little smoother, maybe a little more professional. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, usually it's Alley Cat, but Alley Cat's sitting on the couch, which means that Ben can't sit on the couch because he has this rule, you don't move the cats, which is kind of amazing. I will move the cats, but he does not. He's very nice. My brother's very nice. Okay, so anyway, this is the face of the little turkey. And so this is the beak. And you just try to get the cat hair off first, and then you just kind of match it up with the curves. There's almost like a little divot down here that matches up with the face. Because, you know, I'm not like, I just don't do things perfectly symmetrical. A little bit of my Barely Art glue. And see, I don't have fingernails. I can't even pick up the cardstock. Catastrophe. Yeah, I've had some catastrophes. I have one cat who's very old, and she tends to throw up easy. And what she does, she gets on top of my cardstock. And she, like, you know, wants to projectile vomit down the cardstock. So Oops, I did it to the wrong side. I don't need glue on that side. To get the eye is just a black piece with a white piece. So add a little circle of glue right around the edge of the eye. Let me flip it over. And you can kind of arrange it if you want the cat to give you kind of side eye or something. But the turkey. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call the turkey a cat. Okay, don't glue the little wobbly thing, which I had to look up. I used to know what it was called. It was a wattle. It's called a wattle. But for this purpose, I'm calling it the wobbly thing. Don't glue it on until you glue it to kind of the background piece. And that way, you know you'll get it in the correct place. So let's glue the face down, the head down. Delvine says she has 12 cats. That is amazing. I've had that many before. Now I only get the ones that demand to be at my house, meaning they showed up in my yard and I saved them. Little stray cats. Okay. Now we got that. Now let's do the wattle. So I'm going to apply glue to the back of the little red wattle. Oh, Barbara says she has 27 cats outside at work. I'm glad they're at work. Okay, so the main thing is to line up the wattle, the lower part of the wattle, and do it here. I hope all those cats are fixed. I actually have a couple of traps, so I try to make sure my cats get fixed. Okay, so we've done basically the face or the head, the background piece, and now we can construct the rest. And I've modified it slightly. You know, I never consider a design done. I always keep working to make it easier and easier for you guys, or at least that's my intent. I mean, I'm not like a professional graphic designer like probably the guys at Dreaming Tree are. So I'm a little more asymmetrical. I am kind of wobbly. But I think there's an organic feel to being a designer like that. Okay, so this is just to give a little extra color to the wings. So the wings just have a little more color to them. And to fit this main piece, I'm just going to, just apply some glue. I probably don't need it all this way. And then I'm just going to slide it down where these edges where the circles kind of intersect. There we go. And then for the wings on your design, I got rid of all this because I didn't need it. So it comes across. So it's a solid piece. And I think that works much better. It's much easier to glue it together. Oh, Vanessa has 3 dogs. Yeah, I used to have 2 doggies. I miss the doggies. My sister has, that one's got like a little glue blob on it. No surprise there. So I'm going to center this. I'm going to glue these 2 together. And like I said, I got rid of this cutout piece, so this is solid. And I think it's easier to line up that way. And again, it's not perfectly symmetrical. I didn't, arrange each feather so it lines up, on the one above it. So, it's not staggered like I do, say, the roof pieces. You know how we do shingles and we stagger them? Yeah. I had a dog I called the world's funniest looking dog. He was a Basset Lab. I may have told you about him, Buddy Mac Brown. And he had the head of a male lab, and his legs were like 6 inches tall. He was hysterical. And very, very nice doggy. Yeah, that was old Buddy Mac Brown. Okay, we got that. Now we're going to arrange our turkey, and you can kind of do it, you know, however high or low you want him. Whatever. Okay, so now this, because this piece isn't solid, I'm going to add some to the back of the head. Yeah, I just wanted something simple. I didn't want to, you know, make you have to cut out feathers. Everything cuts really fast. So, you know, you can do it with kids, and I'll show you the hard step. There's always a hard step, even if it's not very hard. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna hold it up so I can see. Yeah, that looks good. He's easy. Okay, this is the hard step. Is folding the little legs. And so what I did was I included score lines on the legs, and I even doubled up the score lines so they'd be a little deeper. In addition, these score lines are about 1/4 inch apart. I actually increased the space between them, trying to make them easier to fold. But they're just not that easy. And so what I realized was if you just ignore the score lines, or you could actually delete them, just fold the end over and just kind of match them that way, it's actually easier than going by the score lines. You're keeping it straight this way. And if you're folding with kids, you can kind of play around. So kind of hold your hand this way, or don't even worry about it if they don't fold them straight. You know, it's for kids. It should be fun, not, oh, this is such a pain trying to follow the lines, you know? So see, this one's got fewer folds, but it was much easier. And then I made little funny little feet. Funny little feet. And I don't know, you know, how when we put hands down, I know which way the thumb goes, you know, if you want your thumb this way or this way, and you want them to be the opposite, but I don't know turkey feet. So I'm just gluing them on anyway. Actually, I realize I have a preference. I like the shorter one to be on the inside, but I didn't expect to have a preference. Okay, and actually I want my feet to match up, so, I mean my legs, so I'm using the pre-scored legs. But honestly, I think it's easier if you don't do the pre-score legs and you just fold it. And if you want them to be exaggerated, you could do longer ones. If you're using either 8.5 by 11 or 12 by 12 cardstock, you can just you know, just cut out some long strips. And I made them narrow because I thought the turkey looks better with kind of skinny legs. See? Okay, I'm trying to see. Tiffany said she feels like her legs have been double scored. Yeah, I've been having a little of that scoring, that double leg thing lately. I have a knee that's hurting me. Enough that I'm actually going to a doctor. I never go to a doctor, even though I was a doctor. And you can decide if you want the legs on the front or the back. I kind of like them on the front. So you can glue them on the front of the turkey or slide it behind, just whatever you prefer. And the other thing I realized after I made all these, I think the legs might be better as a slightly different color from the little feet. Let the feet be yellow and maybe this a paler yellow. I think that would look better. And then I didn't cut it out because I added it to the pattern. But you know, on a lot of mine, I have a little hanger. Or, you know, I mean, you know what I use when I need something to stick. Painter's tape. I just make a little, just double it up and put it on the back. That's my temporary thing because I move stuff around a lot. But there is, I'm going to ask my trusty assistant to bring me 1 or 2 of the dancing figures over there in front of the fireplace. There's a Santa on top. just give me one or two, because I think they've got hangers on the back. Okay. Oh, that's funny. You could have, okay, Jackie said you could do like crooked legs, so see if somebody's got a hanger on the back. Yes. Okay. We've made the dancing cat before, and I'm not sure if the dancing cat is only in the Spooktacular files or if I shared it anywhere. I think I'm going to make a file of dancing figures and just put them, like all my dancing figures, in one file in my shop so you could get them easy. But this is the tag, and I do that because if you put a hole in your figure and then you hang it up and it tears, it kind of deforms the figure. So if you have a little tag in the back and you use like one of those command strips to hang things up and it tears, it's no big deal. It doesn't destroy your design. Yeah, okay, so my idea for next week is the placeholders, place cards for sitting, and you know, obviously I'd make them a little bit smaller, but I have some other ideas, like some leaves, some really pretty leaves that you could write on, or I was kind of thinking about a mushroom. You know, some little mushrooms might look good, or some acorns. So that's the kind of thing I'm thinking of. Okay. A turkey with attitude. Yeah, we don't need that. Okay, so I'm switching. Like I said, it was so easy. You really put it together in like 5 minutes. And I just think kids would have fun. And you could actually do it in, let them color the feathers if they wanted to. A lot of people make turkey crafts with their kids' hands, so they could trace out the hands and let that be the feather part, and you just use the body. So I think there are a lot of things you could do with kids that would be really fun. Okay, Nana, could you cut the feet and leg in one piece? Oh yeah. Yeah, I never even thought about that. See, that's how y'all help me. That's why I like these so much. It's because you point out different perspectives. Yeah. The legs could easily just be added to the bottom of the little strip. The only thing is the strip is a little bit long, so it sort of depends on your paper. You'd have to cut it with your 8.5 by 11 paper this way, but yeah, you could do that. That's great. Yes, I have acorns. We have a ton of acorns where I live, and one year I bought like 1,000 wool balls from Nepal. It's actually more, I think it is about 1,000. So anyway, I have all these little balls from Nepal, and they make really cool acorns. So you glue them in an acorn cap, and then it's like a permanent acorn, and they're really cute. I think they would be fun as a placeholder or a napkin ring, something like that. Yeah, we're not doing dancing acorns. I mean, I guess you could. Size for the Christmas house contest. Okay, so I'm keeping the same sizes now, and I did them bigger, partly because people use files from other designers that make them bigger. So I'm doing, it's 12 by 12, and I think I make them 10 deep, like 12 high, 12 wide, and like 10 deep. So, so they're not like huge. And I haven't made up the rules yet for the Christmas Village part of the Christmas house contest. But I think the main rule is how many photos are we going to allow? And I think it's going to be 3. So I would do an overview photo, and then like, when you make something like that, there's always one building that appeals to you more than the others. It's like special. You know, a lot of times in a Christmas village, it's a church. So you can, you know, take a picture of maybe, you know, 2 or 3 together, or your premiere one. So I think that's the rule. But I just think everybody, a lot of people have been with me for quite a while, or have been, you know, like Judy, who does magnificent work. She's been on Tim Holtz for years. And so you can In other words, you've got a number of houses. I guess we'll have to make some kind of rule that at least one of the houses has to be made this year. You know, but this way you can show off your previous work. Okay. Oh, somebody said a mice baby tucked in a walnut shell bed. Oh, that would be adorable. I've seen those as little ornaments. I love those. Kathy Drew asked if they can be smaller. Yes, I mean, you can tell I want them to be smaller. I think the big houses are difficult to store. You know, you always have to, when you make them, you're like, where am I going to put this when when the display is done? So I actually like them small, and that's why on my wreaths, they're usually pretty small. And I like the idea of a wreath as a way to display. And you can use a wreath as your display village too. Okay, all right, let me see. Oh yes, and Ben mentioned we've had some teeny ones that are just amazing, like, little houses like this big. How did they do that? So, yeah. So, one reason I think now is the best time for Christmas crafting. Once it gets towards Thanksgiving, we're all so busy. We have, events to go to, family to tend to, dinners and preparing your house and stuff. So I think now is a really fun time. I will try to send out for the next email, I'll try to send out like a list of things that I think are really fun to make, easy to make. I have an Advent village that I made a long time ago. I made one for the Cricket holiday craft adventure, but I've got one I made a long time ago, and those are kind of, they look like Amsterdam houses before I ever saw an Amsterdam house in real life, and that's a really nice village. It's an Advent village on my website, but I'm going to make up a list of kind of crafts we can do ahead of time before we get slammed with events. Also, I mentioned in my email, Craft with Sarah's Christmas Countdown is really fun. I love her. She's so nice, and she always has like a hero project. And usually it's some kind of lantern. Like for her previous event, she had, what was the lantern? I don't know. She's had like a raven, like a layered raven lantern. And she did the vulture lantern for us for the Spooktacular. And, oh, she's got a snowy owl that's fantastic. So she always does something like that. And sometimes she does like a little house, but she doesn't do major houses. And then her gnomes, like if you think this guy is cute, her gnomes are like killer cute. And also Jennifer Maker has an event coming up. I think it's her Merry Mingle, and she's doing it different this year. She's starting November 14th. And I think that's exactly because we get so busy in December, we can't keep up. And so I think it makes sense to do it in November. Somebody is pushing the hearts. That's very nice. Yes. Okay, I like that idea of the Santa Chimney Advent Calendar. So, yeah, so anyway, I think that's it for today. I hope it's okay. The only thing I feel bad about is if we end early, there are all these people, oh, she'll be talking at 2:30. I'm like, yeah, not today. The little turkey's just too easy. Yeah. Okay, so I will see you next week. We'll do place cards, and, if I can think of some other kind of crafty things for Thanksgiving. And in my email, I'll include some ideas for your Christmas stuff before Thanksgiving happens. Okay. All right. Thank you for all of y'all's wonderful support. I'm trying to get on parole in Facebook. Still figuring out how. So, because I really miss y'all. I really like the interaction. Here, I can read your comments and everything, but I can't see exactly what you're making. Ben lets me look. He comes by every day, and my brother shows me what's on the thing, but it's not the same thing as me being able to comment and, like, wow, I can't believe you did that. So, okay. Alrighty. Well, bye, y'all, and I will see you next Monday, 2 p.m. Tell everybody to join us, because it's going to be good. Okay, remember, 201, the Dancing Turkey, 201 in the free library. Okay, bye, y'all.